A new season is almost upon us. The cards are cool, the theme is dope, and I am excited. What's up, nerds? The time has come yet again to review the new Marvel Snap cards coming out in the October Season Pass. We'll be going over each card, their interactions, potential deck lists, and then at the end of the video, giving them a letter grade and deeming them worthy of play or complete garbaggio. First up is Elsa Bloodstone. Elsa reads, if you play another card to a location, give it +3 power. This card seems great, mostly because it seems to be a decent option for a multitude of decks. There aren't many 2-drops that are just like really good on power, aside from Angela, and all the other ones that are like, you know, good power like Silk and stuff, they all have a weird drawback, like Lizard for an example. You could count Collector too, but that's really only in one list. So yeah, a 2-drop that can just really beef up your board is much needed, I think. All right, let's think about the decks that also could go in. Swarm Discard, Zoo, Bounce, Thanos Zoo, Thanos Lockjaw, Move, Craven Tempo, Surfer, Patriot Brood. That's a lot of decks just right off the bat. And yeah, the interaction everyone's, you know, on that first pops in your brain is Kitty Pryde, because you get to fill up the location, give Kitty Pryde +3 power, but then not actually fill the location and put Kitty back in your hand. Of course, that's going to be great, but overall, I think this is going to be totally playable and a valid option in a lot of decks. I'm excited for Thanos decks to get a nice 2-drop, so let's take a look at what that deck would look like. So Thanos already fills up lanes easy. Thanos Ongoing is my favorite version, and it's got armor to protect your stones, and we have ways of buffing your stones up. In Blue Marvel, sometimes you run Kazar here as well, but now with Elsa Bloodstone, basically it's going to let you play only stones in a location and still threaten to win that location simply because you have Elsa Bloodstone down. Usually Ongoing Thanos, it's like a very even, like 20 spread across all lanes, and the opponent can be like, well, I'll just go tall in these two. But with this, it makes it more difficult for them to do that. And with Ongoing Thanos lists, you could, you know, do so many different variations. You could cut the Lockjaw and make it like a Zoo list, like Valkyrie or something on the top end. You could take out Dazzler here and put in Cosmo for tech. You could put in Professor X for tech. You could put in Kazar to go more of a Lockjaw Zoo route. It's great. I think this card is going to be dope. Next up is ManThing. ManThing reads, ongoing 1, 2, and 3 cost cards here have -2 power. So for 4 energy, 5 cost, seems like a good on-rate card. Now, I want to start this off, this card review, by saying people need to stop living in magical Christmas land. Of course, doing crazy combos with cards like ManThing and Mystique and Hazmat and Odin are like super fun, but realistically, those aren't the decks that you see on the ladder all the time. It's not the decks you choose to play when you want to win. Stab it. That being said, I think this card is a type of card that's going to be really excellent in like 1 or 2 lists, and then not really seen outside of that. Now, since this is a Series 4 card, it's not as risky as, you know, 6k tokens, so you could probably pick up ManThing in the hopes that it's super good in 1 or 2 decks, and it's a solid deck to ladder with. But yeah, 6k tokens, I would be like, nah, just don't bother with this card. But yeah, everyone's brain is probably going to the same place with this card too. Hazmat, Debris, Black Widow, the Goblins. Yeah. Well, let's take a look at a list that isn't quite that. Simple plan here: Luke Cage, Hazmat, Cyclops, Misty Knight, you know, trigger all your high evo cards, zap the opponent, play a ManThing or just a regular thing. You got Iron Lad to copy all those great abilities on your high evo cards, and then on the last turn of the game, you probably slam a free Abomination and an America Chavez. All your cards are super negative power. GG nerd. Next card. Next up is Black Knight. Black Knight reads, after you discard a card, add the Ebony Blade to your hand with that card's power, once per game. Black Knight is a 1 energy 2 power card, and the Ebony Blade that he's adding to your hand is a 4 energy 0 power card that gets imprinted with whatever you discard. Awesome card, awesome concept. This card to me is one of the cards where it's sort of like ManThing, but this is on a whole nother level. I think this card might be absurd in like 1 or 2 decks where people are crying for it to be banned, and say it with me, Infinite. Play Sif, discard Infinite, play the Ebony Blade, you got 20 power right there. Play Ghost Rider, bring the Infinite back. That's really good. And there, I want to say 3 or 4 months ago, I can't really remember. There was when Zabu was in its OG form, it gave 4-cost cards -2 energy. Yeah, that happened. There was a Zabu Ghost Rider temple list that were basically just Lady Sif, Zabu, Ghost Rider, bunch of big stuff. I think this card fits so well into that archetype. Even if Zabu isn't as good as it used to, this could bring that archetype back and it could be very, very good. You got the play lines I was just talking about. You got a Jubilee to help pull some of your big stuff. You know, worst case scenario, your Ebony Blade from Black Knight is a Black Cat, you know, a 4/9. That's totally fine. Plus you get to bring it back with Ghost Rider. And then you have Dracula as a backup plan. You know, if none of this stuff comes together, you still play Dracula and get a big dude on the board regardless. And the sort of power that this deck can put out is really hard to stop. Put a Widow's Bite in their hand and hopefully they discard a Dracula. I think this deck could be really sick. Werewolf by Night is up next. Shoo boy. Yeah, this card. It's like Elsa, but gives itself the power and probably way more versatile. I mean, think about on reveal. It's like half the cards in the game. What? Half the cards in the game basically are going to trigger this card and give him +2 power. Let's take a look at an example list of where Werewolf by Night might go in. Werewolf by Night Bounce Deck, featuring the previously mentioned Elsa Bloodstone. So Werewolf by Night sort of feels like a better version of Bishop. Instead of playing a card and getting +1, he's playing, you're getting +2 when you play a card. And if you just build your deck very simply to have on reveals in it, oh boy, this guy's gonna get pretty big. So Angela, Bishop, and Werewolf by Night with a bunch of cheap on reveal cards, plus Elsa Bloodstone making all those little cards even bigger. I think this deck is going to be an absolute friggin' nightmare. But not just this list. Werewolf, much like Elsa Bloodstone, can go in so many things. It could go in Thanos, discard decks, Craven Tempo decks. For all you dorks out there that still play Odin Reveal, sure, put it in Odin Reveal. It's not going to be bad there either. Sarah decks. It goes in control decks too. This card fucks. Nico Minoru is up next. I guess all the cards can't be bangers. So Nico reads a lot of shit. It's sick. So basically when you play Nico, it says after you play your next card, cast a spell. The spell changes each turn. There's 7 different spells that switch randomly, I believe. So let's go through them and see what they do. First up, on reveal, after you play your next card, it becomes a demon. Next, after you play your next card, destroy it and draw 2 cards. Next up, on reveal, after you play your next card, move it 1 location to the right. Okay. Next up, after you play your next card, give it +2 power. Sure, that's fine. Next up, after you play your next card, replace that card's location. Who wants that? Next up, after you play your next card, add a copy of it to your hand. I guess. Next up, after you play your next card, double this card's power. Oh, you get a 1 energy 4 power card. So as you can tell by my reading of those abilities, not a fan of this card. First of all, it's 7 different things and they're random. How are you supposed to build anything around that? Sure, if you want to have fun and you just want to meme with this card, yeah, great. It's like, this is the perfect meme card. But as far as like making decks around it or it ever seeing the light of day in any sort of top level of play, no, I don't see it whatsoever. You know what? I'm not even going to give an example deck list with Nico because I don't know what the hell that looks like because I don't know what the hell you're supposed to do with this card. Moving on. So I'm not going to show all the variants and stuff this season, but it's pretty safe to say this is probably the best variant season we've had in Marvel Snap. Go check them out at marvelsnapzone.com. Same thing with bundles. I'm not going to go over the bundles. There's so many. I don't know. I'm not a financial person. I spend $10 a month for the season pass, and I play a lot. I don't spend money on this game. I don't care about bundles. So yeah, if you think Snap is pay to win, I'm almost collection complete. I've never spent more than $10 a month. So to the card ratings. Time to judge. Elsa Bloodstone gets an A-. This could easily be a B+, but overall this is going to upgrade existing decks like Bounce, Zoo, Thanos, Swarm Discard, and more. So therefore he gets an A-. ManThing gets a C+. That's basically because it's going to be great in just 1 or 2 decks, but it needs to be versatile to get a higher rating than that from me. Black Knight is up next. Sort of the same thing with ManThing. We're giving Black Knight a B-. However, it gets a better grade than ManThing because this card seems so much better than ManThing is and way more abusable. However, only 1 or 2 decks will be using Black Knight. Werewolf by Night gets an A. This is just, in my opinion, a new staple in multiple archetypes that honestly I can see getting nerfed in the future. Nico, you get an F. Get out of my face with that shit. Alright, that's it. Am I dumb? Have you thought of anything that I haven't? Leave them in the section below. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, become a member. Really goes a long way to help me out. Good luck in your games. Later, nerds. Subscribe.